Welcome everybody. If you did just log on, welcome to Tools for Humanity. This is the second live streamed conversation. So if you did miss the first one, it is live on my personal YouTube channel, which is Amy Patee. It's also on Instagram. It's on Instagram TV, Insta TV as well, so you can watch it there. And that was with Michelle Ray. She's a life coach and an author of a book, and it was a really awesome conversation. She has a really kind of like forward-thinking perspective on all of this, and so I highly recommend checking it out. If you missed it, it was on Easter Sunday. And tonight I am joined with Mary Bue. So welcome, Mary. And I hope that you guys can see both of us, because on Sunday's episode, I'm kind of learning as I go with this whole Zoom technology, but on Sunday's episode, everybody was getting our two faces at different times. So I'm hoping that you get to see both of our faces for this broadcast. So there's a little bit more conversation happening between us. And if I didn't say already, I'm Amy Patee, and I created this series really just because I'm working from home right now. I have a little bit more time and space in my schedule, and I wanted a way to bring together some of the people that I love, some of the people who I just really value their work in the world, and create a little platform to highlight them and to share some tools that all of us could probably really use right now to navigate these times of crisis on the planet. And crisis is kind of a strong word. I could also use the word like these times of awakening on the planet. Michelle, who was on the conversation on Sunday, she was calling this time a birthquake. And I just really loved that term for what's happening, because there is a lot of birth, I think a lot of birth happening, birth of like a new era, birth of new places inside of us kind of coming alive and coming to the forefront. And there's a lot of death going on too, which when you think about earthquakes, sometimes, like rattles things, but it also can like destroy things. So it's a lot going on. And so Mary is my second guest, and why don't we just jump right in, Mary? And do you want to just introduce yourself, share who you are, and a little bit about what you do in the world?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here, Amy. I actually have your Sun Salutation CD from when you...
Yoga conference, Minneapolis Yoga Conference, yes. Yeah. That's how I got rid of all my old CDs.
Right, exactly.
Anyway.
My name Mary Bue. I'm mostly, I'd say music is my heart. I'm a musician, and I've been a performing musician and songwriter since like 1998. So 21 years of performing and putting out original music. In 2009, I was certified in teaching yoga. So I've been teaching since 2009 in the Vini Yoga tradition, which is very breath-centered, slow-flowing, really modified to the individual. Ideally, we'd be teaching one-on-one all the time, but it's the Western world, so we do it in the public classes, offer a lot of modifications, try to. I've been very reluctant to have, I don't want to say stable jobs, but I've, for most of my life, been on this artist path of really following, like, I'm going to move to Rhode Island. I'm going to go to Seattle. I'm going to go study in England. I'm going to just kind of follow this sort of thread of interest. And it hasn't really lent itself to be super stable, but very fascinating, and tons of amazing relationships and vibrant experiences exploring the world. And most recently I had like some of my largest travels. I did a 3-month adventure in Bali, Indonesia for 2 months, and then 1 month in Rishikesh, India, just January through March. So I had to come back early, as some of you know very well. Had to come back 2 weeks early because of this situation we find ourselves in. So I'm self-employed artist. I used to run a small yoga studio called Mary Bue Yoga, and yeah, just kind of the artist music yoga path for a long time now.
Yeah. And when I was getting ready for this conversation, I was just going over Mary's website and just kind of like feeling into Mary too. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fun because like you're so creative. You've just got
Oh,
a lot of creativity and color and
yeah,
richness to you. And before we go a little deeper into the conversation, kind of around the tools and around what's going on with humanity, I'm just curious if you could just share just a little bit more. Two questions I have for you. One is, how did you find your way to music? Like to the place where you started to perform? Because it sounds like you've been doing it for so long, but I'm just curious, like, if there was a tipping point where you were like, I'm going to step into this path. And then also, how did you find your way to yoga?
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can just speak briefly to both of those questions.
awesome. So, music, I think it really started to come into my soul from my being a child going to church. I was raised Methodist, and my mom was the choir director and the pianist and organist. And so I was always in the church with her and hearing the hymns, and they're not exactly fun and happy, hymns. And that sort of like melancholy, soulful, spiritual music started to come into my being then as a child. And then when I started college a year early doing post-secondary. So I went to UMD as a senior in high school, and I started my songwriting in the dorms, which was like, they hated me because I'd be like up playing in the middle of the night. And my friends they dared / encouraged me to do an open mic at Amazing Grace Bakery, this folk venue in Duluth. And so I did. And back then it was 1998, and there were only like a few music venues in Duluth. So everyone was at this open mic. It was just like packed, and I was like so nervous, and I played, and like the whole room quieted, and like I just felt this like rush of like, this is amazing. And then the owner invited me to have my own show there, and it just kind of grew from that. And he was very encouraging. So that's a little bit, but yeah, all through high school, like more in like 8th, 9th grade, I got more into the alternative, like 90s, really kind of rockin' indie stuff. And I always have been drawn to the more melancholy vibes, really like, rip your heart out kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then with yoga, I would say like my first like yogic experience was I was learning Taekwondo actually in 7th grade. And before Taekwondo, we would always meditate, and the master would give us guided meditations and offer like a nature visualization. So we'd like visualize being in the forest or being with the waterfall. And that was my first real like looking internally and like quieting the mind, which is yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I read an article in 17 magazine about yoga, and it was like Kundalini postures. And I was like, this is so cool. What is this? And it was like, I was 14. And then just kind of kept following when it would come up. Someone lent me Richard Hittleman's 28-day yoga plan and got into that. And then like in college, I started getting more and more into it, and eventually sought out teacher training in Seattle.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah,
The short
that's
answer.
like the short little. I'm sure that's the short little synapse. And I won't ask you any more questions explicitly about that. But thanks for giving us just like a little bit. I love the story about your mom and the church, and
Yeah.
just a little inside scoop around that. So we have this pandemic happening on the planet right now, and people are experiencing it in so many different ways. And for yourself, and especially like in regards to your expertise and what you bring, like what services you offer and how you are with people, where do you find like your attention, your energy being zoomed in right now? Like what kind of space are you holding for yourself? What kind of interactions are you having with other people? Yeah, can you speak to that a little bit? And and any perspective that you have also on the virus and what's happening with that too, just anything that you can speak to around that.
Yeah, it's It's really pretty heavy. Obviously, like I was catching up today, and just it's really unbelievable how it's the entire world. Like we've just never seen the entire world be affected like in this way in this time. Like it's just really really unexpected. And but I felt like I'm kind of going right into the virus conversation, but I felt like something was ramping up. Like I felt like I felt like we were grinding so hard as maybe just as Americans, but it felt like this maybe since we're so bombarded with this online world, which is funny because now it's like mostly everything is virtual, but it felt like this grind and like everyone pushing so hard and everyone's so stressed out. And now it's like, you go to your room and think about what you did. You're grounded. Like this is like Mother Earth. Like just shut up, sit there, and let's work through this quietly on our own. So it's giving us all like a big time pause of kind of heavy duty, kind of a lot of disappointment, a lot of grief, a lot of loss. As far as like what I'm offering, like I really limit my news intake. I just do kind of little nuggets every day, which some people may judge me for that, but I know the big picture is like so terrifying, and just like I feel it in my body. So what I'm trying to offer is like really silly stuff. Like I'm taking like dance classes, and I'm like videoing my dancing in my bedroom, and like putting that on my Instagram, and then I'm like running and just doing like I'm trying to like stay as active as possible to keep my sanity. Like I'm been alone, like in my house, alone for over 3 weeks. So any sort of like physical activity, going to all these online yoga classes. I'm teaching a few online yoga classes, and I've transitioned to online piano lessons. And I just did my first real like live stream performance this Friday of like a hour-long concert in my house. And so it's been like, I feel like we're all having to learn so much, and like really deep reflection of like what is meaningful, like what can we hold on to for hope, like what are the I don't know, I could any more into that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I did read something that I thought was really interesting about I read that like drug cartels, maybe somebody else read this. Drug cartels are like helping their communities because their governments aren't like following through with aid and stuff. Like it's like the bad guys are like helping and like and the supposedly good leader, or like the leaders we're supposed to look to, are really falling short. So we have to really like look within ourselves for our like integrity and our own like heroism, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Self-heroism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To be your own hero right now. And then potentially maybe a hero for other people that are in a rougher spot or a rougher place.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked how you described the sense of grinding that was kind of leading up to this experience. And I had not heard those words used to describe it. But when you said that, it was like my system kind of went like, yes.
Just like
grinding was kind of an unspoken grinding that I think we've all been at for a really, really, really long time. And we all, I think especially people like maybe focused in the health and wellness arena, have been feeling it and doing the best we can to engage in self-care and to find ways to somehow kind of quell the grinding or calm the grinding and the impact it has on our nervous systems and our bodies and our minds and our hearts, our energy fields. But when the collective is grinding You know, it's a lot as one person to try to keep balancing yourself in that kind of situation. And so I know for myself in the last, you know, over a month now, when the grinding, when kind of the brakes went on, my system is still, I can feel my system is still in the reset phase, recovering from that. And it's come a long ways, but it's definitely still in that recovery phase of just not having, yes, just that intensity of like grinding and going, and almost like the grinding is like a going against nature and going against the flow that we're intended to be in. And so I love that analogy. And the idea of being our own heroes at this time also, because it does take a lot of courage to wake up every day and kind of face your day, and whether you're by yourself and you have to completely face what's going on inside of you, or face the news, or face your family that you're living with 24/7 now. There's just a lot to wake up and face. And so this idea of like maybe waking up and facing it as a hero, like kind of just using that as your own personal title right now, like hero. And for myself, you know, and what do I need to get through the day? And then how can I be available to other people too in that same way? So I love those pieces. And and then you're sharing, I mean, it sounds like you're really sharing like all of your gifts, talents, and skills in ways that you can right now, teaching some music, offering some live music, live streamed music, and doing some live yoga classes as well. So I'll be sure when I post this video live with links, so people can check you out. But your website, marybue.com, is available, so people can go in and maybe take a class with you or experience some of your music as well. So what kind of tool do you, so it's not, I mean, you have, I'm sure, a wealth of tools that you use to, and you've shared some of them, like being active sounds like a really big one for you. And then like bringing some humor and silliness into the heaviness that's happening right now. But what is there a tool that you want to share with us tonight and share with all the people that will watch this in the future that could help right now with just being our best selves on a daily basis?
Yeah, I have this one that I've worked with before and then I've really gotten into recently. It's called Bremery Pranayama. And so pranayama is a conscious breath work. Prana is our life force energy, which is always present, sometimes blocked in a physical way or energetic way. And practicing pranayama means we can direct the flow of prana in more of a intentional way. So this practice uses, I'm a musician, so this really appeals to me. It uses our own mechanism of making sound. So what it translates to is bee buzzing breath or bee humming breath. And so I will teach it to you if you want to try it. And there are a few different options. So what we'll be doing is we'll be taking big inhales, and then when we exhale, we'll hum. And I recommend doing like a low hum rather than a high hum. And it's like in like yogic masters would try and approach like a really high pitched sound, but that can be kind of like a little more, in this time anyway, like anxiety provoking. So I recommend getting low, and as you're making the sound, focusing on either the center of your chest or in between your eyes. So the heart center of compassion, forgiveness, comfort, love, care, or third eye, higher intuition, guidance, clarity, higher minds. So that is part one, is making the sound. Part two is blocking out your senses. So this breath is supposed to bring deep soothing, and like it's like pratyahara, which is a withdrawal of the senses. So that's like the fifth limb of the Yoga Sutras, according to Patanjali. So we're withdrawing the senses so that we can come deeper in to find our internal sound and soothe our nervous system. So I'll give 3 options for finding your hand position and what. So we're going to for sure close off the ears. Mm-hmm. And then the last option will close off the eyes. So option 1, pointer fingers, and you stick them in that little nub in your ear, and you just gently press so you can, so you can't hear anything.
I'm going to let you demonstrate. You're going to demonstrate it right first.
You're my guinea pig over. So you're my live. So
this is what I wish I could see everybody.
You know, me too. So, well, who knows if they're doing this? They might be naked in the,
That's true.
So the funny thing about teaching this online is we'll be closing off our ears and eyes may be closed, so you might not know when to stop. But we'll say we'll do it for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
No, let's do 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
1 minute's great. I mean, why don't you're going to demonstrate it first though, so we can just watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll say 1 minute and then eventually open your eyes. And
how long do you recommend, and let me know if you need a timer, I could use a timer. How long do you recommend people do this practice?
I would recommend, well, ideally, I mean, give yourself 3 hours for a morning routine, but but for this, like 1 to 3 minutes. Okay. Yeah. You could go in the bathroom and like if you're with a ton of family or something, go in there and just like, and then you just focus on your own sound. 1 to 3 minutes, I feel like is good. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to lead up to it with just like a little movement, sitting in a quiet space. Getting your body relaxed. So back to the finger options. We're closing off the ears with both fingers. This is option 1. Option 2, take your whole hand, put your thumb in your ears, and just kind of rest your hands on your forehead. Yep. Option 3 is the full mudra or hand position. You're closing off the ears with your thumb nubs. You're taking your pinky kind of right under the lips, ring finger kind of by the nose. You're closing the eyes with your 3rd finger, just gently resting with the eyes closed, and then pointer finger just on the forehead, and then you're closing off the ears. So this is what I'm going to do. Looks kind of badass when I'm looking at it.
I've been doing that even. I wonder if there's like pressure points that you're working. I'm sure there are on some level, because even just doing that, I was kind of like, okay, that was
nice. It's deeply interiorizing.
It is that, like, if you feel a little like too much news, too much family, too much whatever, like,
then you can just bring it all. Yep. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be sitting nice and tall. I'm going to take a few deep breaths. Let's just go on into it. I'll demonstrate
the full thing with the hum so we can just hear you hum.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. So I'll do my little hand thing. So I'll be taking deep breath, focusing. I'm going to focus on my heart center because I feel like I just need that grounding. If you're feeling more like you could use more clarity, you're feeling a little fog, you might like to come up here and to focus that vibration here or here. So big inhale. On your exhale, and you just hum it out low, kind of a low tone, as far out as the breath goes. And when I've taught this before, some students say like, oh, that's like, whew, that's like a long time to hold my breath. Like that kind of feels straining. So I recommend not pushing your breath to a point of strain. Just when you're done, you're done. It's fine. And then just take another inhale and go for it again.
Okay. So do you want me to set the timer for a minute and then we'll just hear the timer ding, and then everybody hopefully you guys online can, because it would be fun. We'll just collectively put our energy together with this and give it a try.
Yeah, notice your sound, if it's a little like, if there's vibrato, if it's smooth, like moving to a smooth flowing sound.
Yep. And so
plug your ears with your fingers, thumb, or the whole shebang. Good. Big inhale, lengthen your spine, fill the lungs. And when you're ready, hum it out. Yeah.
I think we're almost at a minute.
Okay. Maybe people are still going. We don't know, but
I was like, I'm not going to be able to hear.
I know, because you're like.
I was like making too much noise. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious if anyone has any thoughts on that. What you think about your sound, or so I'll tell a little story. I did a month-long teacher training in Rishikesh in January, studying the yoga of sound and mantra. It was called it was at a place called Nada Yoga School, and we did this this breath, and the instructor would walk around while we're doing it, and like a little like invasive in a way, like he would listen to our sound, and he had some comments about people's sounds, and he claims, and he was a stunning teacher, like I deeply respect, and he claims, like, I don't remember exactly what he said for everyone, but he said something about like, well, I asked like, how are you able to read people's sounds and know like where they're at? Like, how did you come to get that like knowledge or power? And he said, total self-love. He said, total self-forgiveness every day, like completely forgiving everything, every day completely loving, every day like loving. And it was just like this, like it kind of was like a mind-blowing answer. And he said with that practice of like as much self-love as possible and self-forgiveness, he's able to understand like deeper other people. So interesting. I'm still trying to integrate all of the things in that training, but I think that's good advice.
Yeah. Well, I like that practice, and it's definitely been, I know when I don't do it, I'm looking to see if there's any questions right now, but I don't do that practice. I have not done it for a really long time. So when Mary brought up that was what she was going to share tonight, I was like, ooh, that's going to be good, because when I have done that in the past, it's been very centering and very quieting.
Yeah.
Kind of, it almost seems like it clears, well, I mean, like you said, bringing in all of our senses, and then the humming sound. I use humming actually a lot in my classes, because I feel like it's just a way to like, kind of like, it's like parting the seas a little bit. Yes. Like clearing the space around you and inside your head and in your body. But I would be curious if you want to speak any to like what the effect is that you've experienced, or the potential of that practice, so people know when they're doing it. Well, they probably have their own experiences too, but if you can add anything about that. And Trish, just to add, Trish said that was great. Felt heart opening with focus and chest. I could not hear you or the timer. Either could be. No. Well, I could hear myself, but not the timer. That's why I was kind of like, what time is it?
I know I had to like open my eyes because I'm like, oh, I'm on this video.
It is very calming. And so thank you, Trish, for sharing your experience with that. I was doing it into my heart also, and kind of downward. And that felt really grounding and soothing. I've done it more of the higher pitch practices before. So, but what else can you share about that?
Yeah. So it's been widely studied about the exhale, how the exhale, focusing on longer exhale, is really really soothing for the nervous system, and like can bring us more grounding and like slow us down, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system rather than the sympathetic fight and flight. We're coming into a more quieting breath. So that like deep focus on exhale, because when we're doing mantra or working with sound, you can't really make a sound, like you can't really make a sound on an inhale, but exhale. So we're with just singing mantra, we're focused, like the sound is coming out typically on the exhale. So just with that, there's that calming, more soothing quality of exhale. And I like to think with this one of like a purring cat. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read somewhere that when cats purr, they're like healing themselves. Does anyone know if that's true?
I've never heard that before, but that's interesting.
I mean, you would think like purring is like they're pleased, like they're enjoying themselves, they're having pleasure. It just seems like purring is like that. So I think of this as like like your vibration, like and like making sound like it's vibration, so that like is moving our energy around. Like you think like we're all like atoms and molecules, and like we're just this like very specific collection of that. And like when we're working with sound, it can move through those barriers of matter and kind of reorganize. It's so beyond me. It's going to take a lifetime to really be able to explain it well, but those are things I like to think.
Yeah. So if for those of you that are watching and listening, what did you learn in the Tools for Humanity with Mary Bue? I learned how to purr for my own healing.
Yes.
I learned how to purr like a cat to heal myself.
I love it.
That's great. So Brummery is the name of that breath. And okay.
Like the bee breath, the buzzing bee breath.
Yes. And if anybody has anything to share about their experience, Amy Schroeder says, I was initially surprised at the strength of the sound of the humming within. It felt very primal, a very deep vibration to help go deeper within. That's
I love
really beautiful. That's awesome, Amy. I have that. It's almost like the humming as an invitation to go deeper within, to connect with your primal self. That was really beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah. Sweet. So does anybody that is listening in live right now, if anybody has any questions around that breathing practice, or any other questions that Mary maybe could speak to, we would love to answer. Mary would love to answer any that you have. And if you don't have any specific questions, there's a few things that we're gonna share before we wrap up the rest of our conversation.
Yeah.
We love questions. Jessa Walters has a question for you, Mary.
Okay.
Mary, what does your daily self-care practice look like, especially right now in these times? That's a really good question. Thank you, Jessa.
Yeah. I actually really wanted to talk about this, so I love you, Jessa. I'm a huge proponent of daily practice, and whether it be 5 minutes or 3 hours, ideally, before you leave the house, because that's what like sometimes it can turn into. When I was in Bali, I just led a retreat, my first retreat with Jessa's blessing, in March, and we just squeaked through, like before we had to like rush home, sort of thing. And the guests got me, my guests bought me a 4-hour session with a shaman in Bali, and he prescribed this practice, a prayer practice that I'm to do first thing in the morning before doing anything, and right before I go to bed. And so the practice is, you take 9, it's sort of a long, like sometimes it takes over in half an hour. I mean, it could take a long time, but you take 9 huge breaths, like really big, let your belly expand muscularly, and then exhale, pull it in. Inhale out, exhale in, like slowly, 9 breaths. And then, kind of like my teacher in India, you forgive yourself. You forgive yourself, and then you move it out, forgiving other people, forgiving the community, forgiving the world. So you're sitting there forgiving, like possibly like bawling, forgiving yourself. And then when you're done, you feel like, okay, I forgive, I'm over this. Then you take 9 more huge breaths, and then you let go. And you let go of that. You let go of, I've been letting go of like expectations of like my day, letting go of expectations of what I thought my life would be, because we just don't know, letting go of all the baggage. I'm just like, it's just like clearing, you're just like clearing it out. So letting go. And then when you feel done with that, you take 9 more breaths, huge breaths, slow breaths, and then manifest happiness. And again, you're starting with yourself, like wishing yourself like the happiest, sweetest day. And then to your friends, family, community, kind of like Tonglen, if people practice that, put it out into the world. And then you take 9 more breaths. And so I've been doing that for over a month. And when I do it at night, I usually fall asleep in the middle of it, like usually right in the letting go part, but that's okay.
You're fully letting go.
Totally. So I do that. But before that, I do like a small little bit of asana. So like maybe 10 minutes of just gentle postures. And then I settle in and do that forgiveness prayer. Or actually I do postures, and then I do 108 rounds of Saraswati mantra. I'm like really, Saraswati is goddess of art, music, learning, language. She is like the goddess of speech and creativity. And so I've been working with her this last year. So I do 108 rounds on a mala for her, like that she'll bless my day and my instrument study and my music lessons and my yoga and my music. And then I do this forgiveness thing. So it can sometimes be shorter, sometimes be longer, depending on how much time I have. But as an entrepreneur who's a music person and a yoga teacher, coming home basically to zero work, I have a little time. So my personal practice is a little longer these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I like if I don't do morning practice, like I do not feel right. So, no, I'm really lucky that in some ways that I can do that right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are working way more, and like one thing I'm just like so heartbroken for, well, not heartbroken, but just like so grateful for our healthcare professionals, because like my father is a doctor, my aunt is like a really big time nurse in Rhode Island, and I texted her today and she's like, she has to wear masks, like the same mask 2 days in a row, and like it's really ramping up, and like all of her team just had surgery for other reasons, and so she's like running 12 hours a day, like, and it's like, how is your immunity going to keep up with that? Like it's just heavy duty. So I feel like, yeah, anyway, spiraling back into that, but just thank you to our healthcare.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. And thanks for sharing a little bit of your practice with us. I love that practice, just of the forgiveness piece, the letting go, forgiveness, letting go,
manifest happiness,
forgiveness, letting go, manifest happiness. And then the 9 breaths in between, which I'm sure are symbolic of something.
Yeah. It's like, push it out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jessica says, wow, so inspiring, Mary. Thank you for sharing about your daily practice. Julie Williams, love the self-talk, self-compassion, daily forgiveness, so necessary in healing, and ending with happiness manifesting for yourself and spreading it to all. 3 hours sounds magical. It does sound magical. I agree. 3 hours.
Not that I do that I mean, if I can, I will, but
yeah. And Jenna says, Mary, during the times that we are in, do you feel that you have been feeling more creative or less? And have you noticed a shift?
During the times now, the quarantine?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she's referring to. Like during these times that we're in right now, are you more or less creative? Have you noticed any kind of shift with that?
Ooh, I have felt, you know, I haven't been writing my own songs. I feel like I've been more creative. This is a really great question, by the way. More creative in like taking in sort of like study sort of creative, like a absorption, because I think in order to create, there's like, it's like creating is like almost like responding for me. Like you have to like experience and take in and then like absorb, and then like in that absorption, like it's transformed into like a creative work. And like, so I've been like doing like journaling and some poetry and stuff, but it almost feels like a big time of absorption. Yeah. So my output is like different. It's not as like, it's more like practicing scales or like building the skill rather than like the creating of the songs. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say something about that in a second. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we got all those. So speaking of your creativity and like that element of like, you know, you birth something and then you need time to cultivate, learn, absorb, and then more comes out. Mary, do you want to show everybody what came in the mail today or came in and shipped? I'm not sure how it came to you, but
it's a quarantine miracle. So this is my new album that's coming out in May, and it's my vinyl record, The World Is Your Lover. And this was done being recorded like a year and a half ago, and now it's a year and a half later, and I finally got the vinyl printed, and this album release is supposedly happening May 22nd. And I got a knock on the door, and I thought it was a wine delivery, but it was my vinyl shipment. And they're coming from the Czech Republic. So I'm like, I don't even know if I should sanitize them all, but I'm like, no, I don't care. And so I just like did not expect that they would get done right now for months. And so it's really like, so yeah, this is my new album. It's like my 8th album of original songs. And
it's called The World Is My Lover.
The World Is Your Lover.
The World Is Your Lover. That seems so perfect for the times. And you're holding the earth.
Yes. Yep. Earth Mother. But the album it's a little like heavy duty. There's like some apocalypse situations. There's some like really bad heartbreak in there. There's like a lot of hope though too. So I do like some yoga music, but like like a lot of it is kind of more like edgy sort of indie stuff. So, but yeah, it's here. So I'm actually gonna launch a Kickstarter because I'm not like playing shows. I'm not like working as much. So I have to pay like for the shipping and all this stuff. So if you're interested in pre-ordering, I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter in a couple days.
Yeah, for sure. And that information I'll put on the replay link and stuff. So if people want to support you in that, and I'm sure it's a beautiful album and seems so appropriately titled for the time. So yeah, awesome. Okay, well, congratulations on that, Mary.
Thank you.
And Jenna just said, I love that absorption. That's totally the space I'm in. Thank you. All right, so Mary, if you're still up for it, she was going to, unless anybody has any other questions, I think we're going to start to kind of wrap this session up, this conversation up. But if anybody has any last minute questions, or if you just want to comment, feel free to comment something, or if there's anything you want to share, Mary, in closing. But she had suggested and offered to sing a little chant for us in closing to this session today. So yeah,
Yes.
I would love that.
I got my ukulele. So the mantra I'd like to offer is, so it's in Sanskrit, which is an energetic language, and each word has many, many meanings. And we could go on and on dissecting every word and honoring every word. But the loose translation of this mantra is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, is may all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that peace and happiness for all. So I'm just gonna, should I just sing it, or do we want to do?
Go for it. Yeah, I mean, I think if people know the chant and they're at home and they're in a place where they can sing along, awesome. But I want to kind of sit back and like just listen to you. Yeah.
Perfect.
Whatever you
that
prefer.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right. So again, if you feel like chiming in, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, may all beings be happy and free. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu.
That was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love that with the ukulele. That was so sweet.
I take no credit. No.
That was so, so sweet. I want a recording of that. I want a copy of that. Do you have it? Do you have it any place for us?
Not yet. Not yet with that one, but I think there's a live thing on YouTube, but I'm going to do like a mantra album in the next year or so.
Yeah, I would love a copy. I would love to listen to that and sing along and for my own meditation practice. And Julie Williams says, beautiful, love this and your soothing voice. Thank you, Mary. And I'm sure everybody would agree. That was very sweet and such a nice way to end this conversation tonight. So thank you for sharing, and good luck with your album and with your daily practice, and just for sharing some of your energy with us tonight. It was just a joy to be with you. You're really fun. You're fun to be with. And thank you to all of you who joined us for the live stream. Some people probably missed it, but we will be putting this out on YouTube, and I'll put it back up on Insta TV too. And there's several more of these sessions that will be happening over the course of our stay-at-home order. So Thursday night of this week, I'm going to be having a conversation with Mary Bue. She's a Rubenfeld synergist, and that she's got a lot of experience working with the body, the somatic kind of piece of things, and trauma, anxiety, depression, emotions, all kinds of things. So that's going to be a really great conversation as well. So tune into that if you can. You can register on my website for that, and they can connect with you, Mary, more at your website, marybue.com. And but you're kind of all over the place. Just Google Mary Bue and she'll come up, and you can listen to her music and let us know when that Kickstarter starts so that we can grab one of those amazing albums.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy.
So all right, well, I think that's it for tonight. So thanks again, everybody.
Thanks so much, everybody,
for joining us. Lots of thank yous from Jessa, Amy.
Yay.
All right, and Jenna. All right. Well, we are signing off, everybody. Have a beautiful night, and hopefully we will be able to connect soon in person. Bye-bye.
Bye.